What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video by me, and I'm going to be doing my manga haul for February. So let's start off with Tokyo Pop, which I only got one volume of, which was Battle Royale Volume 7 that I didn't get in the set I bought previously, so I got that by itself pre-owned, so I'll pop that there. Moving on next, we move on to Vertical, where I got Immortal Hounds Volume 3, which is about immortal people facing off against mortal people, just trying to spread a disease. Moving on next, we got a title by Junji Ito, which is Dissolving Classroom, which I haven't read yet, but it looks absolutely disgusting. Hopefully it is good. Next we have Wolfsmund Volume 2, which is based in the medieval times. Very gruesome, very much like Berserk, because the creator is one of, what's his name? Kintaro Miyaru, one of his assistants. Moving on next, we're going to move on to Yen Press. Starting off first, we have High School of the Dead, Volume 6. If you know what this is, it's basically high school kids and zombies. Pretty self-explanatory, still good. Next, we have The Devil is a Part-Timer, Volume 3 of the manga. I'm enjoying this so far. Next, we have Volume 1 of Dimension W, which I haven't read yet, but I've seen really good things and heard really good things. Next, we have the Omnibus of Uberblatt, Volume 2. I'm loving this so far, so hopefully it continues to be good. Up next, we have Toho Game Volume 2. I think it's an omnibus, and if not, either way it's good. It's basically about a classroom that has to fight each other because of a tournament that's been set up on their phones, and it's really good. Up next we have Taboo Tattoo Volume 4. I know not everyone enjoyed the anime or the manga, but I still enjoy it all the same just because of the powers. Up next, we have Today's Cerberus, Volume 2. This girl here, she has 3 personalities. Like there's the other 2 and there's the other one. And she basically switches between the 2 because she's Cerberus, the dog of hell, somehow. I have no idea. Up next, we're going to move on to Dark Horse. First up, we have Drifters, Volume 2. After I saw the anime for this, I absolutely loved it, and I had to get the volumes, and there's only 3 out at the moment, so hopefully they bring out the next one. Up next, we have Blood Plus, Volume 3. I had to get this pre-owned because I couldn't find it cheap anywhere, which is why it's kind of yellow, but I'm still happy I got it. Next, we have Gantz Volume 4. I tried to get Volume 3, but as a lot of people know, Gantz is very out of print with a lot of their volumes, so I had to skip 3, and hopefully they'll bring that back out in a reprint soon. Right, next up, we got a whole bunch of Berserk, all the reprints, so I'll get through these quickly. So we've got Volume 20, Volume 21, Volume 22, Volume 23, Volume 24. I love all these covers, they're so amazingly detailed. Volume 25, Volume 26, Volume 27, Volume 28, Volume 30, Volume 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and finally 36, because I already had 37. And I'm so glad I finally completed it and all up to date, with hopefully volume 38 coming out in a month or 2. So looking forward to that. Right, moving on next, we have Kodansha pickups. So first off, we have Interviews with Monster Girls. I'm really enjoying this so far. Next up, we have Real Account. I saw this on Amazon once and I thought I'd give it a go. Looks interesting, so we'll see where it goes. Up next we have some Attack on Titan volumes. So here we got volume 1 of Before the Fall. Looks really interesting after I read the synopsis on the back. Then we got volume 1 of Attack on Titan No Regrets with Levi. Really excited to read this. There's only 2 volumes, so quick read. And then for the main series we have Attack on Titan volume 11. Pretty much starting off where the anime finished, so 1 or 2 volumes in after that, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Then we've got volume 3 of Sweetness and Lightning. Really loving this. It's such a light-hearted series about him, the dad and the daughter just cooking together. So nice. And then we got volume 12 of the 7 Deadly Sins. This is such a good series and I'm so glad that I'm getting more of it. Sorry about that if you heard some background noise. Then we got volume 3 of Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, but we'll see where it goes. Up next we have volume 2 of Living Stone. Enjoying this so far. It's only a 4 volume series, so hopefully it is just as good as the rest of it. Next up we have the first volume of Fire Force. Heard really good things, like it says there. Creative Soul Eater, and I love Soul Eater, so hopefully this is just as good. Next up we have volume 6 of Parasite. I love this series. It's so, not gory, but intense, to say the least. Next up we have a volume that I heard about all over YouTube, some of the collections last month. It is The Black Museum, The Ghost and the Lady. It's a nice hardback book, and I'm just really looking forward and interested to see what it's about. Next up we have volume 5 of Cage of Eden, and then also we have volume 6, 7, 8 and 9. This is basically High School Kids meets Lost, and it's just as good as you think it sounds. Moving on, next we have the Viz Media books of this month. First off we've got Blue Exorcist volume 7. Then next we have volume 8, volume 9, volume 10 and volume 11. Loving it so far and hopefully it continues like that. Next up we have Assassination Classroom volume 6. I'm enjoying it. It's not one of the best series, but I'm still liking it. Next up we have volume 1 of Ice Shield 21. I've heard good things, and sport anime I've really gotten into recently, so hopefully it's a good addition. Next up we've got Hikaru no Go. I think it was Insidious Swede that was reading this and talking about it recently, so I thought I'd give it a go all the same. Next up we have another sports anime, Slam Dunk volume 1. I'm enjoying sports anime like I said, so I thought I'd give this a go as well. Or manga, I mean. Then we move on to Seventh Garden volume 3. I'm enjoying this about devils and angels, so hopefully it continues as well. Next up, Dead Man Wonderland volume 7. I love this series. It's so creepy and weird, but all the same good. Next up, My Hero Academia volume 6. I'm only 1 volume behind now, and I'm enjoying it because superhero stuff is always cool. Next up, we have World Trigger volume 3. It's a decent series. I'm enjoying it. It's not one of the best ones, but it's still good. Next up, we have Black Lagoon volume 2. It's pretty much mercenaries, shooting, action. If you like that kind of stuff, give it a go. Next up, we have Seraph of the End volume 5. Vampires, End of Humanity, all that. Great. Simple as. Here we go with Magi volume 4. If you've read Magi before, then you know it's about Aladdin, Alibaba, magic, all that great. Here we have Nisekoi Volume 3. I'm enjoying it so far. I've heard really good things, so may as well keep going with it. Next up, another sports manga, which is Kuroko's Basketball, the omnibus of the first 2 volumes. I hope to enjoy it. I've heard good things, so if it is good, make sure to leave in the comments to suggest why it's good, I guess. Next up, we've got Toriko Volume 2. This is pretty much Food Wars, but a lot more crazy. Next up, we've got Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 1. I've heard really good things since it's from the creator of Hunter x Hunter, so I thought I'd give it a go as well. Next up, we have One Punch Man Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 10. I think that's all up to date at the moment until Volume 11 comes out in about a month or 2. Right, continuing on with the Viz, we've got Dorohedoro Volume 4, Volume 8. I love the art in this, it's amazing. Then we've got Volume 6, then we've got Volume 7, and finally Volume 8. Such a cool series. Here we have another Junji Ito title, Fragments of Horror. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it's all like short stories, so should be a good read. Up next we have Gangster Volume 3. I'm enjoying the action and the story so far, so hopefully it continues like that. Up next we have Joe Mungan, which is a mercenary manga like Black Lagoon, but with child soldiers and that kind of stuff, which I don't know if everyone likes, but should be good either way. And then finally for Viz Media we have Tokyo Ghoul Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and finally Volume 10. Same with this, like a lot of other covers, the artwork is absolutely amazing, so hopefully that continues like that. Next up we have the Seven Seas manga, which will start off with Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Volume 3. It's a nice little title, it's funny, so hopefully it continues going on like that. Then we have the final omnibus volumes of Frank and Fran. This is such a good series. It's loads of like short stories in the life of this character, Fran. Hopefully it ends up in a good way. Next up we have the spin-off title of Love in Hell, which is Love in Hell Death Life. It's about devils and people trying to get through hell to finally make their way to heaven. Interesting title. Next up you have Magica Swordsman and Summoner. This is basically another one of those harem manga with mech suits and all that. Still all good. Next up we have Monster Musume I Heart Monster Girls. It's another of the short story volumes. All good. Next up we have Akuma no Riddle Volume 2. Enjoying this, all of the assassination stuff. And then next we have Nurse Satomi's Monster Infirmary Volume 5. It's the day in the life of this nurse, which is really good. Right, I'm going to clean all this up and then finish all off. And here we are just to finish some other bits of manga that I forgot to mention. Here we have Magical Girl Apocalypse Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 10, with the final volume being the massive Master Edition of Blam or Blame, which doesn't have much dialogue but is still good all the same. So there we go, that's all of the manga I got for February. I think it's about 92 altogether. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a comment about any other videos you'd like to see, of any other first impressions, any unboxings of the big box sets I've got that I showed in my collection video, And if there's anything else you'd like to leave in the comments, make sure to. And I will see you all in the next video.